Hi, Robert. Hi, Cully.
Hi, Brenda.
Hey, Brenda, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Congratulations on your reappointment.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Well, you must be doing a good job.
I'm sorry I was muted. I said I try.
I know you do.
Hello, folks. Just giving you a little update here. About 5 till 2. We'll get started in a few minutes. Still got some folks rolling in. But just thank you for making the meeting today. I'll be back. All right, quick question for the group here. Got someone is on the meeting with a number 828-284-6036. Who is that?
Hey, David, it's Denise Collier from Yancey County.
Wonderful. Thank you, Denise. Just checking to see who that was.
Oh, good to hear your voice.
Yes, good to hear yours. I'm getting closer to a quorum, so this is wonderful.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and mute myself again.
Super, thank you. David Harwood, welcome. This is David Graham.
Hey, David, how are you?
Good. This is your first RTAC meeting and we're doing it virtually, but I appreciate you stepping up and joining us today.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to see Cully's face.
Hey, how you doing, David?
Good, buddy. How about you?
Good, thanks.
All right, y'all sit tight for a few minutes as other people come in. Thank you. Okay, folks, it's 2 o'clock, and I'm going to give y'all the 2-minute grace period for a couple more folks to show up. That seems to be the typical Zoom grace period that's given. I'm noticing that I do not have a chairman or vice chairman on the meeting as of yet. So I may be calling for a chairman pro tem at some point, unless Woody shows up or Chuck Bond shows up. So we'll give it a few more minutes. Thank you. I keep popping in and out. Quick question for the group. I've got also a 336-200-0163 number. Who is that?
Larry Prince.
Okay, great. Thank you, Larry. Make sure I got everybody here. Okay, folks, I know your time is valuable, so I'm going to go ahead and get this meeting rolling here. If other people show up, they show up. We'll let them in as they show up. So as I had mentioned just a few minutes ago, neither the chairman or vice chairman is with us as of yet. But as I said, I don't want to keep you all waiting for that. So in this situation, the group has to recommend or nominate someone to chair the meeting.
David, this is Robert.
Yes.
I recommend that Brenda would do this for us if she would accept it.
Okay.
This is Larry Turnbow. I would second that.
Okay.
I will do that. I need to pull up the agenda.
Mayor, I will pull that up for you. So I've got to nominate Mayor Lyerly as the chair of this meeting. I've got a first from Mayor Johnson and a second from Larry Turnbow. Is that correct?
Yes, that's who it was.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So with these Zoom meetings, these virtual meetings, I have to do a vote on that. So who all is in favor? You just say yes or no, and I'll just go through the list here. So Cully, yes or no on that?
Yes.
Let's see here. Larry,
Yes.
David Harwood.
Which Larry, David?
I'm sorry, Larry Turnbow.
Yes.
Okay. David Harwood.
Yes.
Okay. John Reeves.
Yes.
Denise Collier.
Yes.
And Larry Prince.
Yes.
Super.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Mayor Lyerly, you are now the chair of the meeting. And if you give me a moment, I will pull this.
I've got it on my cell phone.
Okay.
So
I'll still pull it up so the group can see
good.
it for those who don't have it. Hold one moment, please. Okay, can everyone see that?
yes.
Yes.
Super.
Yes.
Okay. And
Yes.
there's the agenda. Very good. Very good. Okay. Again, I need to ask for your names because I have to do roll call before all of the meetings, and I just need you to say here. I know a lot of you have responded to voting for Mayor Lyerly to chair the meeting. This time I just have to have roll call for the record because that's the law with these Zoom meetings in the state of North Carolina. So it's simple, just here when I say your name. David Harwood,
Here.
Larry Prince, Larry Prince,
Here.
okay, Brenda Lyerly,
Here.
Tully Tarleton,
Here.
John Reeves,
Here.
Denise Collier,
Here.
Larry Turnbow,
Here.
Robert Johnson.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, Mayor Lyerly, you can take it away with the first agenda item. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up. I've got to do the ethics awareness, conflict of interest reminder, and you probably don't have that since you're not the chair.
Right.
So I will have to read it for the chair in this situation. In accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every RTAC board member to avoid conflicts of interest. Does any RTAC board member have any known conflict of interest with respect to any matters coming before the RTAC board today? If so, please identify your conflict and refrain from any participation in the particular matter involved. Super. I don't hear anything. Okay. So that box has been checked. Mayor, I'm sorry about that. We can now proceed with the agenda.
Do we do a prayer and the pledge in this meeting?
We typically do not, but I'm not opposed to doing that if you would like to do that, Mayor.
I just couldn't remember whether we did or not on this one.
Yeah.
That's fine. Okay, so we need to approve the June 17th meeting minutes. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved. This is Robert.
Second.
And Cully seconded it. Thank you.
Okay. Mayor, before you move on, again, with all of these action items, I'm going to have to do a roll call for yes and no,
Okay,
just to stay consistent with the way the law is written. So I have a first from Robert Johnson, is that correct?
correct.
Yeah.
And the second was
Cully.
Coley. Okay, super. And so just yes or no when I call your name. David Harwood,
Yes.
Larry Prince,
Yes.
Brenda Lyerly,
Yes.
John Reeves,
Yes.
Denise Collier,
Yes.
Larry Turnbow.
David, I had to miss that meeting. I think I have to abstain.
Okay. Thank you very much.
One more.
Okay. Who we got there? Who did I miss? I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Woody, I finally.
Oh, you're
made
there, Woody.
one.
Okay.
Pretty good.
Okay.
Well, let Woody take
I
over.
vote, I vote yes, but you carry right along because I am on a phone only. I could not get online.
Oh,
Okay.
I've
Understand.
I've been for 25 minutes trying to get online.
Okay.
I feel for you.
Sorry about that, Woody. Thanks for making it anyway. Mayor Lyerly, are you okay with continuing as chair?
yes, I am.
Okay.
If Woody will help me along if I need help.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. And I will help you as well.
Thank you. All right, the item 2 then is we need to approve the NCDOT Division 2 and 13 alternate division needs criteria. Are you
Yes.
going to talk about that, David?
Yes, I will take care of that. Thank you, Chairman. Let's see here. Let me get to that. Bear with me a second. Those are the minutes. All right. So as part of the project prioritization process or prioritization 6.0, which is where we are now with prioritizing transportation projects, NCDOT is encouraging all MPOs, RPOs, and divisions throughout the state to meet and discuss with each other alternate weights for highway scoring for the purpose of helping some counties and regions better compete for projects at the regional impact and division needs categories. The proposal is for moving 10% from the pavement condition criteria to the lane width criteria at the division needs category for all Division 11 projects. This is also the same as the adjoining division that we cover, which is Division 13. So we are essentially asking for the same treatment when it comes to weighting for both Division and 11. But I put 2 separate memos in there just in case there was an issue with the way we're approaching this. And this morning there was not a problem. The TCC recommended approval for it. But let me finish what I was saying here. The result will be 20% safety, 0% pavement condition, 10% paved shoulder width, 5% freight, and 15% lane width. The alternate criteria at the division needs category would apply to modernization projects basically in our entire region. High Country staff, RPO staff, me, has evaluated projects in all of our counties, both Division 11 and Division 13. And based on our evaluations, preliminary scores were overall higher in our region when we tested this approach to scoring projects. And so that's kind of where we are. Stefan Sparks was kind enough to join us today. If there's anything you'd like to mention, Stefan, while we're talking about this, that'd be great.
Well, as I said in the TCC meeting earlier, the aim of modernization in the context of when we're looking at trying to get projects funded, it's taking a road that does not meet the current standards for a road of its type. Most of the roads we're looking at, or really all of them, are typically 2-lane roads. And most of the time they lack the lane width or the shoulder width. And I mean, you've been on these 2-lane roads, lanes are too narrow and they don't have any shoulder. So the idea behind modernization is to get better lane widths and shoulder widths for a road of its type. Typically, when we score projects, we base it on mobility, and of course, we have pavement condition in there to hopefully, if the sometimes the roads, the pavement has poor pavement condition as well as poor insufficient lane and shoulder widths. But what we have observed this last round of a lot of the roads we were looking at is that the pavement condition was relatively good. So we aren't getting any benefit from a poor pavement condition for a road that we are trying to get funded in this round. So we decided at Division 13 to try to change the scoring criteria to see if that could give us a better, more competitive project for the counties we were looking at, and they did the same in Division 11. What we found out was the best chance to get some projects scored more competitively was to remove the pavement condition altogether from the division needs category in P6.0 and take that and put that into the lane width criteria. And so what that did was took projects that probably weren't going to get funded and turn them into very competitive projects. So the hope is that for some of our more rural counties, this gives them a shot at getting a highway project in this round. So that was the thinking and the drive behind this, is to help the more rural counties get a funded project. And it in Division 13, certainly in Mitchell and Yancey counties, that was the case. We had a couple of projects that did score better and have a good chance of getting funded this round, which, the idea is to have geographic equity among our urban and more rural counties, and this gives us that shot. But if anybody has any question about that, I would be happy to answer that.
Great, thank you, Stefan. That was a good overview of how it's going. So any questions regarding that? As I mentioned before, the TCC recommended approval for both Division 11 and 13.
David, this is Larry Turnbow. When you said that overall we scored higher on a lot of our projects, was it significantly higher or?
Okay, that's a good question, Larry. Let me go to this test for, let's see, this is Division 11. So here is an example. Hopefully y'all can see this. See if I can zoom in. Let's see here, 115 in Wilkes County, for example. The current way it was scoring was 24.86. With the new weights, it's up to 27.52. The next project down, NC 194 from Elk Park to Banner Elk. That one really bumped up with this new criteria from 23.03 to 33.34. And then 19E, let's see here, from Squirrel Creek Road to Minneapolis and Avery. Again, that bumped up a little bit. Now, Larry, thank you for asking that, because I'd also like to point out this bottom one in Ashe County. You'll notice that it, with the existing weight, it's 9.63. And then with the new weights, it's a little lower. But in this case, this project is scoring so low as it is, it's not going to make it. You want it to be getting in this region right here, in near 30s or higher, and that's what these are doing. So when you see something like this, it's just not going to be competitive anyway.
Thank
Does
you,
that
David.
answer your
That
question?
answers my question.
Okay, super.
Is there
Any other questions? Sorry, Mayor.
That's all right.
Okay.
If there are no other questions, we do need a motion. Did somebody have a question? No, okay. Then we need a motion to approve the DOT Divisions 11 and 13 alternative division needs criteria.
This is Larry Turnbow. I make the motion that we approve the new criteria.
We need a second.
This is Cully, I'll second.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? If
Sounds
not,
good. I'll do roll call real fast on that vote.
yes.
Okay, just yes or no to that first and second. Woody Young,
Yes.
David Harwood,
Yes.
Larry Prince,
Yes.
Brenda Lyerly,
Yes.
John Reeves,
Yes.
Denise Collier,
Yes.
and Robert Johnson.
Yes.
All righty. Thank you all.
So then on to the next item would be the 321 Strategic Transportation Corridor. David, you're going to speak to that?
Yes, I have Cassandra King on the line, and so I'm going to stop sharing this and pull up her presentation for her to give to you all. So hold one moment as I work this magic here. If you can call it magic, dealing with Zoom, I don't know what you call
Oh, you've got the right wand.
it. Okay, hold on one moment. Cassandra, are you on the line? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, super. Let me screen share this. And there it is. And share. All right, let me try to, it didn't work too good last time, but let's try it this time. See if we can start from the beginning and settings. Okay, Cassandra, take it away.
All right, so as David said, my name is Cassandra King. I'm with the North Carolina Department of Transportation Planning Branch. I am the Assistant Project Manager for the Strategic Transportation Corridors Master Plan Project, and I'm going to go over Corridor D, otherwise known as US 321, with you guys today. Next slide, please. So a quick little agenda for this presentation is I'm going to do a data collection review, a corridor analysis review, a preliminary, I'm going to let you know what our preliminary corridor vision is and go over our stakeholder involvement process. Next slide, please. So the overall timeline of this project was, it started with the study in spring of 2018, and we plan to have a final vision plan by this winter 2020. Next slide. So we did a facilities inventory for this project, including a highway assets inventory and a bridges inventory. And there are approximately 106 miles along the highway corridor. And there is a federally designated truck route from South Carolina state line to I-85 in Gastonia, and from I-40 in Hickory to US 64 in Lemoore. For the bridges inventory, there were 67 bridges along the highway corridor, and 3 of which were structurally deficient and 12 functionally obsolete. Next slide, please. So to do this study, we compiled transportation plans and recommended projects along the corridor. These are all existing finalized projects, and they included statewide transportation improvement program, comprehensive transportation plans, metropolitan transportation plans, feasibility studies, and traffic forecasts. Our findings from looking at all of these is that most of the corridors recommended to be classified as an expressway, with south of Gastonia recommended to be classified as a boulevard, and Gastonia to Hickory recommended to be classified as a freeway. Next slide, please. We conducted a public survey for this corridor from April 6th through June 6th of this year. We advertised this survey through email, websites, newsletters, and we also mentioned it during several meetings with MPOs, RPOs, and basically tried to get it out there any way that we could. There were 609 views on this survey, with 253 people actually participating in the survey. So a little less than half the people that viewed the page ended up actually taking the survey. We ended up with 3,734 responses and 44 comments on our survey. Next slide, please. So we asked questions based off of segments of the corridor. For the segment from Hickory to Boone, we asked what changes would you like to see on US 321 in the next 20 years? And for the most part, people said that they wanted fewer traffic signals, higher speed limits, and bypasses around cities and towns. Next slide, please. We also asked if the preliminary vision of an expressway was supported from Hickory to Boone, and we found that at least 81% agree with this preliminary vision. Next slide, please. And then another segment that we looked at was from Boone to the Tennessee state line. This morning there was a question about that segment. This is not from the outside of Boone to the Tennessee state line. This includes Boone. So what changes would you like to see on US 321 in the next 20 years? And again, we saw that most people wanted fewer traffic signals, higher speed limits, and bypasses around cities and towns. Next slide, please. And for that same segment, we asked if there was support for the preliminary vision of an expressway, and we had about 74% at minimum agree with that preliminary vision. Next slide, please. So our recommended vision is a freeway from South Carolina state line to US 70 and Hickory, and expressway from US 70 and Hickory to the Tennessee state line. Now, as a reminder, this is on existing roads. So things that are in construction are not currently included in this. However, next slide, please. We do plan to propose that the corridor follow both the Boone bypass and the Western Gastonia bypass when those are completed. So as a clarification, this would not move US 321 itself. US 321 will stay where it is, but the actual corridor under the SDC master plan will follow those bypasses after they're completed. Next slide, please. So we ran the statewide model to do a mobility analysis for this corridor, and with the recommended vision, the average corridor travel speed increases by 12 miles per hour in 2040, and the average corridor travel delay is reduced by 80% with this recommended vision. Next slide, please. So we identified a few things for further study for this corridor, which were expressway improvements northwest of Boone and the connection at the Tennessee state line, the Boone bypass, expressway improvements between Boone and Blowing Rock, traffic signal time study in Blowing Rock, multimodal connections and a resiliency assessment. And before I get into the resiliency assessment, I do want to mention that this morning we had a comment that a traffic signal time study in Boone should also be included in this, and we plan to include that. So the resiliency assessment, we are actually beginning a project to do a resiliency and vulnerability analysis on all 25 STC corridors. We are beginning a pilot project for US 70. So it'll be down the line, but eventually US 321 will also have a resiliency assessment along with this master plan. I do also want to make you all aware that public involvement will continue until construction is actually happening. So even after the final vision comes out, we will still be conducting public involvement until action is happening. So there will be multiple opportunities to continue making comments and input on this project. Next slide, please. So I am available for questions, and the project manager, Nastasha, is also on as backup to answer any questions that I may not be able to answer.
Cassandra, I really don't have a question, but I want to point the group to that information that you guys shared that I put in the packet, and that's the corridor D. I'm not sure if y'all can see that.
The fact sheet.
Yeah, and so I got stuff circled and I got some arrows on there. That just basically identifies the general description of it as well as the vision plan specifics. So
yes,
just want y'all to be aware of the particulars associated with that.
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
I noticed that one of the objectives was a traffic signal time study in Blowing Rock. Specifically, what would you be looking for? There are only 4 traffic signals along 321 in Blowing Rock. So what specifically would you be looking for?
So with the traffic timing, we want to make sure that we would be looking at how much the traffic on the main line is able to get through, because we want to increase the mobility, reminding you that we're looking at it from not just a regional perspective, but also looking at it from an economic perspective and a freight perspective. And so we want to make sure that traffic is able to move and we're not having so many bottlenecks along the main corridor. And so in some cases, just with doing a study to see if all the lights are actually being synchronized. So if you hit one green light, you should be able to hit every light should be green for the rest of that corridor. If you had a study that was able to let you see what the timing is for that, instead of you hit one green light and then you hit a red light. And so that way we can continue to have a flow for that main line.
Thanks, Nastasha.
Okay. That's just something I want to sort of keep an eye on, since I actually live in Blowing Rock. And everybody knows I'm the DOT board member, so my phone rings often. So, just curious. Thank you.
You're welcome. And we're not saying that it's something that'll happen right now. These are just recommended for additional study once the end of this plan happens. We haven't identified who exactly do that study, whether it would be our department or it would be our corridor division planning engineers that are out in the division office. That's something that we would work through. And we want to make sure that people are on board and that's something that they truly have a desire to have in their area.
Dan.
You're welcome.
Any other questions in regard to this? Thank you. That was very enlightening, Cassandra.
Yeah, no problem. So I do want to add that we would like to have a letter of support for the resolution by September 30th, which was voted on this morning at the TCC meeting. So the resolution is actually included in that packet that David provided for you guys as well.
So
Great,
do
thanks for mentioning that, Cassandra. And yeah, I'd just like to reiterate that the RTCC this morning did recommend approval for this, and that resolution is in your packets. And so if the TAC decides to proceed and approve this, I will have the RTAC chair sign that and get that to NCDOT as soon as possible.
Great, thank you, David.
Go ahead and do it.
we have a motion to approve this resolution?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
This is Robert. I second that motion.
Okay.
Okay,
Was
great. So I got a first from Coley, a second from Robert, and so I'll do my traditional roll call here, a yes or no. Woody Young?
If you get my name right on this thing, I'll vote yes.
Oh, what did I, tell me how did I miss it? We'll talk about it later. Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, David Harwood,
Yes.
Larry Prince,
Yes.
Brenda Lyerly,
Yes.
John Reeves,
Yes.
Denise Collier,
Yes.
and Larry Turnbow.
Yes.
Super. Thank you, guys. That resolution, I'll get it signed and get it to you, Nastasia and Cassandra, as soon as I can.
Great, thank you, David.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to the agenda here.
Like you're
Okay.
up, David, for some informational information.
Yeah. Let's see here. Let me get this agenda back up. There it is. Share. Okay. I'm using one of these mouses on the laptop, and it does not work too good. So bear with me as I plow through this and get to the next agenda item here.
You might have to set a trap for that thing.
I appreciate y'all being patient with me here. Maybe if I grab it and drag it here, it might move a little quicker. Here we go. Now
Put
we're
some
talking.
cheese on it, David.
That fixes everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So we are now to informational items. Item number 5, prioritization 6.0 schedule update. And I want to start out by reading a letter that I received from the director of planning and programming. His name is Van Argerbright, regarding the prioritization 6.0 schedule, basically this prioritization cycle that we're in right now. And he says a number of factors have affected the amount of funding that is anticipated to be available for new projects in this round of project prioritization. A significant revenue reduction due to COVID-19, a change mandated by House Bill 77, and how transportation revenue is allocated between maintenance and capital improvements that reduce revenues available to the State Transportation Improvement Program, and continued increases, in project costs. The State Transportation Improvement Program unit has done an analysis and determined there will be very little funding available for new projects based on the current revenue projections. However, NCDOT will not have a clear picture about our funding until Congress completes work on the next federal authorization funding bill. So I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but with this current cycle of project prioritization, it's not going to be like the good old days. We've done really well in the past with getting a lot of projects in the State Transportation Improvement Program. Not only that, but getting them within the first 6 years, which is a committed status, meaning that they don't have to go back through the system. But I thought this was just a pertinent letter that I needed to share with you all regarding where we stand with prioritization 6.0. And so what you see on the screen is basically the schedule as it stands right now. And the big takeaway here is that I will be soliciting for priority projects from your managers, and that'll occur early June of 2021. I won't bore you by reading the rest of it. That's why I bolded and italicized this specific column here, because that's what your managers heard this morning, and that's what they're anticipating getting from me early June 2021. But I wanted to share that with you all. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Okay, I don't think I'm hearing any.
So then do you want to move on to the project development update, David?
Sounds good. I'll do it. Let me get to that. There weren't too many changes from the last time we met for the project update, but I will hit the high notes here. Let's see here. I've got my cheat notes with the ones that I got highlighted. So everything stays the same on page 1. And please, if you all see anything that catches your attention, you have a question about, just stop me. But everything on page 1 is pretty much the same. And this is based on the July 2020 North Carolina Board of Transportation amended 2020-2029 STIP, just so you know. And so the first change would be this one right here. NC 105, the high country bottleneck of bottlenecks, essentially, right there near Broadstone Road and 105. The bridge project has been pushed back to 2022, just to give them a little more time to, program it, design it, all that stuff. So I know that I was kind of sad to see that, because it needs that improvement 2 years ago, maybe more. But it is what it is, and hopefully it'll stop there and we'll get it done in 2022. So that's all I had on page 2. I'll keep rolling through here. There really wasn't anything that changed on page 3 regarding scheduling. Under page 4, which is what I'm on right now, the Yancey County Transit Facility, construction for this project has been pushed back to 2022. I think a very similar situation, just trying to get it scheduled and make it work with the funding that's available. So that's kind of where we are. Good news is it's still on track, just a little delayed. And then the last one we've got is under the aviation projects. It would be this one right here, the Ashe County Airport. And so good news here, this one moved up, unlike the other two. And that is the construction of apron expansions at the Ashe County Airport, and construction is 2021. So just next year, there'll be some expansions out there to help the aircraft navigate a little more safely. So that's kind of where we are from a project development update standpoint. Be happy to answer any questions that y'all may have. Okay, Chair Lyerly, I'm not hearing any, so.
Do we have the engineers here?
Okay, we're on item number 7.
Yes.
Is Division 11 and Division 13 representative? Division
I'm here.
11?
This is Sean for Division 11.
Thank you, Sean.
I just have two updates, one for Wilkes County. It's the NC 268 project from NC 18 to Airport Road. It is 93% complete. And for Ashe County, the final surface is being placed for the A and B sections of US 221. Also, Pam just sent me a travel update for that area in Deep Gap. I'm gonna try to read it to you. It says a contractor for the North Carolina Department of Transportation will be constructing new drainage on a ramp from US 221 to US 421, Watauga County. The construction requires a closure of US 221 South to US 421 South ramp for approximately 4 weeks, starting Monday, August 17th. So if you're in that area, just be aware that there will be a southbound ramp closed. Any
Great,
questions?
thank you, Sean.
You can ask me or Pam one. She's got the memo. She could send it to you right quick. That's all I have for Division 11.
Thank you, Sean. Division 13?
This is Stephen Sparks. Like Sean, I don't have a whole lot to update. I've got 3 new things to update. There is a bridge project in Division 13. There's 3 bridges in Buckham County and 1 bridge in Mitchell. The bridge in Mitchell is complete and is just awaiting the final punch list items. So traffic should be on its normal pattern on the bridge. The next one is R2519B. That's the widening of US 19E from Michaelville in Yancey County to just outside of Spruce Pine and Mitchell. Currently, the contractor is placing the final layer of asphalt on the Y lines. Those are the roads that intersect with US 19. We are paving those to their final layer of asphalt, and it'll take several weeks, but they do anticipate the project to be completed by this September. The last one is our 3 bridges in Yancey County. The contractor is working on the last 2 bridges, one on Bald Mountain Road, SR 1395 over Roaring Fork Creek, and the one on Indian Creek Road over Indian Creek. These 2 should be completed by sometime next month, and that'll be in September. That completes all of my updates. If anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, thank you, Stefan.
David, this is Larry Turnbow. If I could ask Sean, he can certainly get my email from you to send a copy of that memo to me. Thank you.
David, this is Cully. Let me sort of hitchhike on the Division 11 report, if I may, for a few minutes.
Yes.
As David said when he was given the prioritization 6.0 schedule update, wish we had better news. As you all heard me say before, DOT is a receipts-funded agency, and when the shelter-in-place order came down and people stopped driving, they stopped buying gas, and the spigot was turned off on the gas tax, which is what we put to for funding. And so we finished the fiscal year several $100 million in arrears and project a deficit for the new year of this thing improved. Now, we did get some relief from the legislature. There's been reference already made to House Bill 77, and it did provide some funding and also provided some new maintenance dollars, which is good news, but certainly not enough to address the maintenance needs that have just been accumulating over the past several months. But we will get to them as quickly as we can. Another thing that H77 did was change the structure of the DOT board. Up until the end of July, the governor appointed every member of the DOT board. House Bill 77 changed that. The governor now has 14 appointments, which means that he appoints each division member, like I am a division member for Division 11. Then the Speaker of the House gets 3 at-large appointments, and the President Pro Tem of the Senate gets 3 at-large appointments. So the DOT board was expanded from 19 members to 20 members, and with 6 being appointed by the legislature and 14 being appointed by the governor. And the governor has made all of those appointments or reappointments, and the speaker has made 2 of his 3 appointments, and the President Pro Tem has made 2 of his 3 appointments. And we had our first new proposed board meeting last week. So we're off and running under the new structure. So as I have said before, be patient. Just be patient until things improve and people start feeling safe to get out and drive and buy gas and pay gas taxes. And we'll get through this one of these days. So thank you very much.
Great. Cully, thank you so much for that input, and congratulations on your reappointment to the board.
Thank you.
May I say, Cully, that I think Boone and Banner Elk have done their part for the gas tax. We have been busy all summer long. Way busy.
Way to go, way to go.
Brenda, the same thing could be said for Blowing Rock.
Yes, that's correct, yes.
Amazes me at the amount of people that are here. And of course, you know, not unlike Banner Elk, we rely on tourism. And the good news is, as you drive down Main Street in Blowing Rock, I would say now probably 90 to 95% of the people we see are wearing masks, which is a good thing. And I'm convinced that the combination of wearing masks and maintaining social distance is the only way we're going to get through this.
Correct.
John Reeves here from West Jefferson, and I would like to echo from Boone and Blowing Rock. We are in the same situation. We have had people in and out, and we're very proud of that. So let's build up that gas tax so we can get started again.
Western end of the state has done our part, haven't we?
That's right. That's right.
Yay. Are we ready to move on to Pam Cook in
Yes, ma'am.
Transportation Planning Division?
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, thank you. And Larry, I went ahead and forwarded that memo that Sean read about the ramp closure. So it should be in your inbox.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Short newsletter from Transportation Planning Division. David has a copy he can send out to y'all. There are currently no traffic forecasts going on in the area. David and I are continuing with the Yancey County Comprehensive Transportation Plan Steering Committee. We actually had the public survey out this past month, and we'll be analyzing the results of that. Excuse me. I don't get to talk to many people when I work from home. I did put in the newsletter that NCDOT now has a logistics and freight bulletin, and the information was very interesting from a freight perspective. So I put that in there, and you can email them and ask to be added to the newsletter if you want to receive it. And then the last page was just some information from DMV in case any of y'all know someone that's having to take the driving part, the rules that have changed for that because of COVID right now. And I just sent to David too. I didn't even mention this to the TCC. I didn't see the email till after that. But the NCDOT 2019 traffic count data just came out. So that is available now. You can check out the map online and all if you're curious to see how roads have grown and all. There is that, and I'm sure David will be sending out that link to y'all once he gets a chance to go through the emails I've been bombarding him with. So thank you.
I'm doing a meeting, Pam.
I'm saying after your meeting.
Okay.
That's it.
Great. Thank you, Pam.
Anything else from you, David?
No, we'll just keep going through the agenda, and just a little heads up to you. We'll have to do a motion for adjournment, a second, and then the same roll call. Just stay consistent at the
So
end.
do we have any committee member comments?
Brenda, this is Robert. I would like to say congratulations to you guys up on the hill, but we in Wilkes do all we can to push those folk on up there to you so that you can have all that good gas.
We thank you, Robert.
Yes, ma'am. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Robert, this is Larry Turnbow. We really appreciate it.
Yes, sir. We
Thank
do
you.
all we can. Don't Brenda knows in serving with me that Wilkes County does do all they can do to promote high country, and we are thoroughly blessed with the lovely country up there, and just appreciate everything you folks do. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert. Do we have
Robert, John Reeves, keep on pushing.
I've got a little truck down here. It ain't too little. It's pretty good size. If somebody gets in trouble, we hit the back bumper and shove them. That's enough of my comic.
David, do we have any public comments?
No, ma'am, I have not received any up until this point, and I don't believe that anybody's on here that has any.
Okay,
All right, Brenda, are you ready?
we're ready.
I make a motion that we adjourn.
It's Larry Turnbow. I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we
Okay.
have to do a roll call for this?
Yes, ma'am. Woody Young,
Yes.
David Harwood,
Yes.
Larry Prince,
Yes.
Brenda Lyerly,
Yes.
Holly Tarleton,
Yes.
John Reeves,
Yes.
Denise Collier,
Yes.
and that's it. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Yep, so the
Thank
next
you.
meeting will be December 16th at 11 a.m., just so y'all know. We used to do a luncheon. I just don't know how that's going to work, but we're going to stay with the same month and the same time slot, and hope, I'll cross my fingers that we can have a luncheon.
Thank you, David.
Thank
Let's
you all
have,
for
let's have it
joining.
in person.
I'm
Let's
sorry?
have the meeting in person. Let's have the
That-
meeting in person anyway.
Yes.
Oh, I'll have to check with some folks here at the COG and see if we can do that.
Well, we can work on that one, David. I think the advisory board did with the High Country Board.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. Thank you all for joining today. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.